that typical. It's 9:15.
It was obvious that they were going to put the railway and the bloody road over it. So, you know, there was, you know. But, you can see here the sides. To avoid taking the wool up. This sort of thing. So they let the sheep carry the stuff up. Travelled all the length of it to Bathurst, to any, you know.
So this was used for 20, 25 years?
14, I think. Yeah. Lawson was a surveyor, and he sort of he came back and he made a bit of an adjustment to it up the top there, and I think Mitchell was the one that really changed the road by putting in Victoria Pass. And the funny thing about it was, you know, you sit there and you listen to this. Well, I listen to the 7 o'clock news, which drives you mad. But and you think, you know, these politicians, what are they doing? What are they listening? Well, he was trying to convince them that this was a bloody awful road for a long time before they built Victoria Pass. You know, he was saying, you know, this is a joke, guys. I know an alternative road. And of course, you know, he was wasting his breath for quite a while before they eventually said, oh, it's crikey, we might put an alternative road down at Victoria Pass. Mitchell would have gone berserk because he'd been trying to get them to do that for quite a while. So, you know, yeah, things got a bad.
Wow.
And as I say, blasting powder is... Lawson was involved in it. They had good directions, or Evans had good directions. Evans was in Tasmania, and when they found the way across the mountain, Macquarie brought him back, wandering over the mountain. And of course, Coxs then was to follow his Blaze trail, and they did change it on the way. You know, they were looking for different ways and this sort of thing, and he would send those guys out. But when they got here, they looked around and they thought there was no way, there was just no alternative but to come down this way. You know. Yes, the stone. Yes, that's it. Round like that is actually easy. And there's a woman that's written a story about it, and and she sort of equates the bridge as being something that goes straight down there, which I think is a bit, I don't know whether she's right or not, but anyway. Assuming that the road came down through here, which is what, he does say that this part of the road was, it followed a creek bed. So, and you could imagine in heavy rain that could be a creek there, running there. And you can see the gutter. They've tried to, it's as I say, it's hard to say really what this bridge actually here and held back, and this was the road. This was the base of the road. It was built on top of logs and things, and there is some evidence of that. You can see where there's steps and that they're cut into the rock to hold the logs back. So we think that the bridge was more or less here rather than going that way. Anyway, we sort of take a bit of time to think about these poor bastards that actually built the thing. And as I say, at the time that they got to here, there was quite a few guys on sick list, and they weren't able to even, get out of bed, sort of thing. And Thomas Hobbs, he was an assistant. He got 5. Richard Lewis, he got 200 acres and a horse and 4 cows. John Trahere, he got 100 acres and 5 pounds, 2 cows. There was a guy here, Ailes, Watson, leader of the road makers. James Dwyer, leader of the fire makers. James Gorman, charge of the stores. William Dwyer, Dyer, rough carpenter. Freeman, rough carpenter. Cook, sawyer. Thomas Carpenter was a sawyer. Fowler was a blacksmith. Harman was a shoemaker. Waters was a bullock driver. Handley was a bullock driver. And Crayer was a bullock driver. These other guys were labourers, just labourers. Some of these, when he put one of the convicts in charge, one of the soldiers said, "I'm not taking orders from any convict, I'm out of here." And that was fairly early down at Emu Plains, I think. So he took his leave. And when you sort of get down the bottom and you look back up, this is only a little bit of what they did all the way.
A lot of mouths to feed, no.
Back to depots. They'd leave this. Emu Plains was a depot for quite a while, or Emu Ford. They had a base there for quite a while. He'd moved all that forward. Did have a sort of a wagon thing that they organised for the for the guys to sleep in at night and this sort of thing. But they did, a lot of it was fairly rough, sleeping rough. He actually had a cart made, or converted, for him to sleep in and sort of
Do his calculations.
Yeah, do his calculations. yeah, whatever. Anyway, we might say really sick. He put them on the bullock train, took them back to Emu Plains, and then took them to Clarendon, and his wife nursed them back. Yeah, so all of the guys that were on the thing ended up with something. Some of them more than others, some of them with real rewards, land and cows.
Animals.
Yeah, some of them ended up with real rewards, but the rest of them at least they did get their freedom, which is what he told them. He guaranteed them that would happen.
The land grants the people got, were they this side or that side?
Well, no, most of them out here. And look, a lot of those guys, they didn't have any real use for the land. A lot of these guys, you'll find if you ever read any of these books, they sell the land very quickly. All those guys, and they sell it for bugger all. They didn't. you know, like
They
you've
weren't
got to remember
farmers.
that a lot. Pardon?
They weren't farmers.
No, a lot of them were crooks and bloody thieves. You know, that's why they're here in the first place. And somebody give them 100 acres of land or 50 acres of land in Sydney and that sort of thing. It wasn't really something that they could. You know, they're much better off with reddies. You know. Anyway, that's the width, and if you look up in here, you can see that they were poles here, and this was filled in, and they were the poles and the fill that they'd use, and that's why this bridge to let the water run underneath it all. So as you know, but.
Isn't that amazing? I wish the sun had come out.
The whole thing, but the fact that yeah. No, haven't just asleep now.
Yeah,
Like those in Europe, you know,
yeah,
in Spain and how they walled their cities.
yeah.
So.
And it was so deep and so difficult.
We're a long way back. Yeah, but the wind and the lights, good.
It used to take a day. It would take a day to get up there. And if you had something with you, you know, like a piano.
2 days.
Oh no, too heavy.
He went to the fire. So Coxs did it free, in actual fact. Why? Did anyway, because he was a good farmer. He was actually one of the founding members of the Royal Society and this sort of thing. So he took farming very seriously. He was a magistrate and a builder. You know, he built churches and roads and things. But he actually offered his services as a superintendent.
And Macquarie offered.
And Macquarie accepted his offer of superintending.
Right, okay.
And then they started to get down to the, you know, how many blokes do you need? How much is it going to cost me? You know, I've got to feed these blokes and I've got to give them a bloody shovel and thing, you know, like that. That was later. The Macquarie. Macquarie paid the bill basically. Hartley Vale. Hartley Vale's the town and the area. This, I think about 60 something or other, 4 or something like that. They found a bit of kerosene shale here, turbanite, and of course that was an industry, a fairly serious industry.
Yeah, there was.
And town came because of it. Yeah, there's some of the original buildings. So it was a good idea. existing shale industries in New South Wales, which there was quite a few in that time. And they built a railway to Nunes. They established a town and a factory at Nunes, and 6 months later they needed more money, and the shareholders told them to go to blazes. So they shut the door. See some houses and things a bit clearer through there. It goes that way. So we've been off the track in actual fact for quite a while. It was on the other side of that, well, going down that valley, if you like, and it came across here somewhere, and I've walked around here a bit too, and I don't know, I blame the cows.
There one coming down there, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
There seems to be an abseil. I can't see it.
The abseil.
And there's a little rectangle from the top.
And it'll stay there for a while.
Hopefully.
I had a few drinks up here. Yeah, I did it slowly. That's right. Yeah. All I had to do was say up all night, 9 months clothes.
By the end of it.
That was so bad. We were down at Well, well.